Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It is your favorite warlock here, practicing necromancer. And tonight I kind of want to bring you the voodoo update. Last week I started delving into Haitian Vodou again. My practices through Brujeria, Santeria, and Pedo Mayumbi practices have led me right back into Haitian Vodou, specifically working with the Rada, Petwo, and Gede family of Loa. Okay. So I found this very interesting because a couple of years ago, when I became a necromancer, was delving into the mythos, the folklore, um, the world definitions, and the practices of necromancy, not just the spirits that I was working with through the path that I walk. I found it interesting that it led me into Slavic witchcraft. And that was the first time I found a connection between Slavic witchcraft, which is basically paganism, by the way, um, and Haitian Vodou. And that was by, what was her name? Heather something or other. She wrote Slavic Witchcraft and Black Magic. Okay. Two books. And that was actually where I first came across Haitian Vodou through Slavic sorcery. Now, here it is. So I delved into Slavic witchcraft a little bit and was working with Chernobog, Kakashi, the Immortal, and Chernobog is the black god in Slavic witchcraft, brother to Belobog, and it was interesting because of the fact that when I was beginning my journey back into understanding Voodoo, because this was not the first time I came across Haitian Voodoo or was attracted to it. Years ago, I was actually attracted to Voodoo, and I never really got into it on a serious level. So I started delving back into it, and I started becoming acquainted with Baron Semadi. Now, for those of you who do not know, Baron Semadi is the Rada Loa of the dead. Okay, he's basically the overall Lord of the Dead within the first class Loa applications put forth by Bondi, okay, or Bondi, depending on how which region of the world you're in and how it's pronounced. So, anyways, after I started delving into this area, my journey ended up expanding into other areas, but I was introduced to Papa Gede a couple of years ago, and I think it was like 2 years ago now. And I actually delved after explaining what the individual looked like. I was informed that it sounded like Papa Gede, so I delved into the research mode and found out that he was the head of the Gede family, which is the third class Loa family. And basically, the Gede family of Loa is beings that are not bound by ancestry. Okay, so you don't come from an ancestral line. This is basically what would be classified as the, how should I say this, the uninitiated variants, the outsiders, if you will, who come into Haitian Vodou or Vodou in general and begin their descent into the workings and the mechanisms of Vodou, not just with getting involved with the Loa and beginning to learn with them. So, anyways, I did a blood pact with Papa Gede a couple of years ago, and I haven't had any contact with him since. So last week I was delving it back into Brujeria practices. I'm really enjoying Brujeria, and I'm in the applications of doing what it takes to succeed. Okay, in that field from the North Mexican, or I should say, the Mexican witchcraft practices. So, anyways, this led me into Santeria and Palo Mayombe practices once again, and I'm finding it weird how it's all revolving around um, these main practices. I don't know what it is about the African Caribbean traditions that hold my attention, but I love it. I'm infatuated with it, almost obsessed with it even. But within a respectable man and humble manner when it comes to approaching the practices and the spirits, specifically that of the Orisha or the Loa. Okay. So, anyways, like I said, this literally brought me back into Voodoo, and I was sitting there meditating. I believe it was Saturday, if not Sunday. And I had pulled out all my voodoo books. I had gotten on YouTube, Google, been watching all kinds of videos, learning, taking notes, um, even putting together wanga and spirit bottles, learning about the practitioners and the different ranking systems and all that stuff. And one of the classifications, the second class low, is known as the Petwo, caught my attention. Keflu, for an example, is the Crossroads Loa within the Petro family of Loa, not to be mistaken for Papalegba. Okay. Now, the history of the Loa is something that was very, very interesting, and how um, everything, what all the spirits of the Rada family were basically given control over different aspects, but Papa Gede really wasn't given dominion over anything. He wasn't handed things like the heavens, which was given to the twins, or the earth, for an example, and and so forth and so forth, and the sea and all that stuff. So I found it very interesting that there was more than one crossroads, Loa. So it was very interesting to see. So I was sitting there and I was meditating on this after I had made the decision that I want to get into this once again. I want to further my understanding and my journey. I want to delve further into Haitian Vodou because Haitian Vodou is one of those practices that is enriched with revolution. Okay. But more so, it is the ancestral lineage long before New Orleans Voodoo. Okay. Now, I did a video about a year ago that within the last year, I should say, where I ended up with a teacher from Ghana who had dual citizenship between the U.S., Ghana, and Nigeria. Now, this individual and I went our own way because of the fact that he really didn't follow through on his promises. He did not follow through on his word, and he really didn't step up to the plate as a teacher that much. But it was more of the fact that he was a great chef. He's a very, very good chef and a nice guy. But he didn't um go to bat for his students. You know what I'm saying? And that's a sign of somebody who's not a good teacher, but somebody who's not into education or enlightening. But it kind of makes you hesitant on what is he even telling you the truth about his lineage and his practices of voodoo. So here I am nearing the end of January 2023, and I was contemplating on the last few months. You know, this man, his wife, and he were going to be moving into a house, which meant there was a bigger apartment that they were willing to sign over to myself, my son's mother, and I. But that didn't work out. So because she and I split, and there was a good reason for that because it was very, very toxic, and it's funny because she and I are better friends than we were as how should I say this, relationship material. So, which was kind of funny. It's kind of weird how things work out like that, but it is what it is. And it's interesting because of the fact that even with all that and the job, I should say the two jobs that I had, the overwhelming need for more gnosis, more knowledge, more education, more study, more practice. She just didn't understand that about me, especially coming from a Baptist perspective, and but my boss claimed to have been the shield, and then when he wasn't there, that this practitioner was supposed to be the shield, which was his number two guy, and neither one of these two men stepped up to the plate. So it kind of stands against him. So there was a lot of things nearing the end of last year that really piled up, and I had to make the decisions. And I left Winterberry, took a month off, reflected. I guess you call it a vacation. Got back into my practices. Yule came around, shed all the negativity. This month delved solely into the practices and the meditations and working with the spirits, really delving into not just the practitioner side, but the ministry side of things. Okay. I really enjoyed this month. It has been educational, it has been enlightening, very, very potent apotheosis. And I don't throw that word out there, lightly when I say apotheosis, because you really got to delve into dedicated, committed routines and really go far within the practices. So Started last week. I felt the pull to get in there and do more study within Voodoo. So I did, and I literally got like pages in a three-ring binder here, just full of information, just on the three classifications of the Bocor. You got the Bocor with the C, Bocor, which is basically the name for a witch doctor. The Boko, which is Dominican Republic. This is associated with the papa or mama aspect of someone who was considered to be evil, vile, a practitioner of black magic. And then you have the Bokor, okay, which is one of the more famous and more popular terminologies. And as Bokor Leonard Amira so colorfully puts out there, this is a term you really don't throw around in Haiti. It's like a death sentence, so to speak, if you do that. Even hell, even if you go into Malawi or Ethiopia, Ghana, or Nigeria, and you throw that word around, you're going to get scalped. Like something out of Native American traditions, you know. So we're here in the free world, or what is classified as the free world, where we have religious freedoms. It's you can use titles like that. So I mean, it's something that's kind of cool. And so the Bokor is basically one who uses both hands. Okay. I found that very interesting. And Sally Ann Glassman actually refers to a Bokor or a Boko as a lower class practitioner. Whereas in Haitian Vodou, a Bokor is somebody who dedicates themselves to the spiritual journey and of solitude. It's a solitude practitioner who is into it for the power, the knowledge, and really, how should I say this? Getting the experiences, rolling up the sleeves and delving in, getting your hands dirty, so to speak. And whereas a Boku with the C is somebody who's considered to be highly feared. They can overturn bad mojo, so to speak, heal and so forth, kind of like a Babalawi. So there's a lot of things there that was kind of cool. But and there's a lot of differences between Nigerian and Ghana voodoo compared to that of, say, Haitian voodoo. Um, a lot of the rattles, for an example, or the drums. The dances are very subtle and different, and I found it very interesting to see those differences. So the Bokor basically is a master creator of the Wanga. Think of it as a Griskus bag or mojo bag, cursing jar or baneful magic. Okay, not just somebody who works with love magics and compassion, healing, and whatever. Because a Bokor can do it all. Now, the female version of a Bokor is called a Capilata. Okay, that's Caplata. Okay. Now, this is equivalent to a mama in Dominican Republic. Okay. Think of it as a man bow. Okay. Whereas a Bokor is a Hangan or a papa. Okay. Very, very interesting research going on here. So, anyways, the day before yesterday, how should I say this? I was sitting here just reading and studying, and all of a sudden, it was like I had this pull, to go into a meditative state, and it was almost like the energy just went out from underneath me. Whatever energy, whatever motivation I had just bottomed right out. Okay, it was that pull into the nexus, the meditative state, the void meditations. So I turned off the light, folded up my books, set it off to the side, and I placed myself into a meditative state. And I welcomed whatever spirit was to come forth. And to my amazement, it was weird because the entire using my third eye within the astral, it was just flashes of light. I mean, literally, it was like watching. Um, I don't know if any of you've ever had one of those old black and white TVs that when you use the antennas, and it just when it goes off the air, it's got nothing but static. It's that flashing of light, so to speak. That's basically like what I was seeing, but without the black and white. It was just flashes of light, white light. All of a sudden, the background went black, and I could see a forest, almost like a jungle, like you were on top of a hill or a mountain, looking down over the countryside, and you could see the ocean off in the distance. And it was spectacular view. And when you looked up, there was nothing. It was like a thunderstorm of flashing light, lightning in the sky, raging in the night sky. Spectacular. And this ended up going into a completely black background with a beam from here up, kind of like a mud face, if you will. How should I'm just going to describe it the way I saw it. It was the skin tone was almost mud colored, kind of clay, if you will, if not mud. And it was kind of a brownish color. And over the nose, just it was like somebody just laid clay over the nose, but going towards the eyes and kind of just curling upward like so, line wise, just over the nose. Okay. It was white, almost looked like bones, but yet my first instinct was bones. That was literally what came to mind when I saw it. The eyes were blood red, if not ruby red. Black hair. It was black hair. And it was kind of draped. Not like not dreadlock drape, but more European based draping of the hair, you know, where it was just nice and thick and just kind of draped down. But it was the eyes that caught my attention, and when I saw it, I called out to Keflu, the Crossroads Petwo spirit, the Loa of the Crossroads, and Aggassou. Aggassou is basically, how should I say this? Aggassou, and I'm probably butchering this Loa's name, and if I am, I do apologize. But she's more, the spirit is more like an entrapper, a trickster, if you will, somebody who, if you've made a blood pact with this spirit or any number of the Petwo, be it say the Gede or the Rada, and even a demon, if you will, you made a blood pact. This spirit will force you to honor that. Okay, this lower will force you to honor that and entrap you. The Aggassou is known as the possessor. Um, basically will take your soul to what is known as purgatory. Okay, it's kind of like that in between. You got the living world, the sleeping world, and then you have the land of torment, if you will, the three classifications of this. And here we see this is basically what she the spirit does is brings you into this possessed state, and that's basically what it felt like I was being possessed or at least taken over to a point where it's like, hey, need you to pay attention. So I know it wasn't entrapping. It was more of the possessing aspect of it. That's why this Loa's name came to mind, not just with Keflu. And I even brought in when I even greeted and welcomed Baron Semadi because Papa Gede answers to Baron Semadi. Okay. And when it comes to the dead, when it comes to any number of spirits, Baron Semadi rules over them. So as soon as I said, I petition you, I welcome you into my world, into my life, Keflu, the Crossroads, Loa, I welcome you, Aggassou, possessor of souls, entrapper of spirits, enforcer of pacts, and I welcome and petition you to come into my world, Baron Semadi. I woke up from that. I came to like as fast as I went into it. Never have I ever had an experience like that when dealing with the Loa. I've had one hardcore encounter with Papa Gede. I've had one hardcore encounter with Baron Semadi, but those were light compared to this spirit that dragged me into that state. And I did not feel threatened. I did not feel scared. It was almost like you were being tapped on the shoulder and like you were being initiated into a secret society, like one of those frat houses, on college campuses. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it felt like. And it was like, hey, I'm just saying, hey, I'm acknowledging you. I'm here. Come talk. That's what it felt like. So yesterday, I just lounged in bed all day. Just most of the day yesterday, I just lounged in bed, just reflecting on that encounter. I had my books on the bed with me, had my laptop on the bed with me, my cell phone right next to me. I was cross referencing everything that I could, trying to figure out who these spirits are. And the Petwo I've heard as being chaotic, being almost dangerous to work with. But yet here I am being contacted by not one but two Petwo spirits. Kind of makes you wonder, is this a state of fear that people have over them? I mean, Bokor Leonard Amira has verbally stated in his videos that the Petwo will fuck up your life. But yet, the voodoo videos that I've watched here on YouTube have shown another perspective of this, is that they are guardians, protectors, teachers. much like that of the very image and definition of the demonic. And when you're talking power and you're talking knowledge, wisdom, and growth, if knowledge is the definition of power, I can see why the Bokor is perhaps one of the most powerful practitioners out there, much like a Darak, a Marimberos, a warlock, or a brewer. People go to a brewer to get shit done, to seek justice, to balance out the equation. People go to a warlock because a warlock does what is necessary, offers their services in exchange for payment. A Bokor builds their reputation on their magics. And I'm reminded by my teacher that I had when I worked at Winterberry, who told me right to my face that my magic works. And it was over a coffee pot. It was fixed the following morning. Ironic. Even he even went as far as said as if you show your magic and people will talk. I reflected on this and I'm reminded about how my reputation is. Now I don't talk reputation over ego or pride. I don't really care about reputation. I don't care if people like me or not. I'm a teacher, I'm an educator, I'm a practitioner, constantly striving for more knowledge, better and more education. But to see and experience and what went down Saturday afternoon, late afternoon to be precise, that left me wanting to know more. That left me wanting to go further, to make that connection again, to continue on with these spirits. I don't know why the spirit reached out to me. Shango or Chango is another spirit that I found very interesting because of the fact that even Abatelah, and I probably just butchered that name as well, and I do apologize. It is said that storms are a sign of this Loa being around. Kind of like that of Set or Seth in Egyptian mythology, the god of storms and chaos, highly respected, highly feared, kind of chaotic. How about Thor in Norse mythology? Worldwide, you have mythologies of gods and goddesses of lightning, of storms. And it kind of makes you wonder, why do these spirits reach out to you? Is it because they want to get to know you? Is it because they recognize your potential? Is it because they want to teach you or they want to work with you? Maybe all of the above. Personally, I think it's the latter, just based off my experiences, my personal experiences with the spirits that I've worked with over 30 years. But I've never had an experience like Saturday. Not like that. That was vivid. That was right in your face, blatant. Yo, I'm here. Come to me. That that is amazing. I've had I've had a voice tell me to bleed on the altar. I've had demons come to me and appear in the candle flame through the incense smoke. I've had experiences with temperature fluctuations, but nothing that clear. Nothing that clear. Nothing that welcoming. Normally, you have to work your ass off to get anywhere with these spirits. Maybe it's just because I take the hard road. I don't know. And they know that. But to have that experience, it's left me wanting more. It's left me wanting to go further. So I've chosen to work with Voodoo over the next few months. I'm going to be going through all my voodoo books. I'm going to be doing this as a practicing necromancer. I'm going to be doing this as a practicing warlock. And I'm hoping these spirits will want to come back and really jump in and go, hey, have you considered this? Kind of like my patroness, introducing me to a